No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for February 9th, 2024. We're coming off the Wrestlemania 40 press conference. If you missed it, check out the live stream we did. We talked over an hour about possible scenarios for WrestleMania 40. We had SmackDown, the follow-up to the press conference. We had footage shown of what went down with The Rock, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and Seth freaking Rollins. And then we opened up SmackDown with the game, Triple H, Paul Levesque. He was there with general managers Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. Triple H said it was an incredible kickoff show, but it took a hard left turn, and the road to WrestleMania is now on fire. The crowd chanted, "Rocky sucks." You had one fan with a cutout of The Rock's face on camera. Triple H talked about how maybe some people don't know their role. Triple H had to make it clear he's fixing things, but he's the guy that calls the shots, and he confirmed that Roman Reigns will face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. That is the match. That is his decision, and it doesn't matter, to use the Rock's line, if certain people do not like his decision. That's how Triple H fixed things. And then he threw it over to Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. They discussed Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight title, and they announced that there will in fact be a men's Elimination Chamber match, with the winner going on to WrestleMania to challenge Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. There would be a series of qualifying matches, and the following people were going to be included in those matches: Randy Orton, Big Bronson Reed, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Ivar, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, who got lots of boos, and LA Knight. Yeah. Drew McIntyre came out there and cut a promo. He called himself DM Hunk. He once again bragged about injuring CM Punk, had the t-shirt on and said CM Punk is not getting one penny of the merchandise money. McIntyre got in the ring for a match against AJ Styles. I also forgot to mention that McIntyre said he is going to save the world title by winning Elimination Chamber and beating Seth Rollins. Shout out to Hamp Connell, who sent in a $2 super chat, says, if they're doing a power struggle storyline, I'm in. It'll be interesting to see, and we'll talk about The Rock here in just a few moments. I liked the opening segment, and they did have a follow-up to it, which we'll get to here in a few moments. We had our first match of the evening, which was McIntyre versus Styles with LA Knight, on commentary. It was a back-and-forth competitive match. Now, in these types of matches, when LA Knight's out there, he's feuding with AJ Styles, you kind of know how this is going to go down. It was a competitive back-and-forth match, and McIntyre started selling his leg. He went for the Claymore, but Styles avoided it. Styles applied the calf crusher. McIntyre was able to escape, and Styles and McIntyre fought on the outside of the ring, right by LA Knight. So you know where this goes. Sure enough, McIntyre sent Styles into LA Knight. And then McIntyre and Styles got back into the ring. Styles almost had the match won. He was perhaps going to win with an inside cradle, but LA Knight got on the apron and distracted the referee. LA Knight was knocked off the apron by Styles, but then McIntyre took advantage, got the win with the Claymore. I mean, it was exactly what I was expecting here. As soon as LA Knight's out there on commentary, it was an okay match, predictable. I'm a little surprised with the pairings. As David mentioned in the chat room, I agree with this. Like, AJ Styles should be in the chamber match. I'm not really sure how I feel about some of these matches. And there was another pairing that I'm a little perplexed about, which we'll get to in just a bit. We had Sami Zayn interviewed about his qualifying match against Randy Orton. Zayn said that with WrestleMania season, nothing is for certain. And he did main event last year, but this year he is seeing that window close fast. And he said it's not an easy path against Randy Orton, but it is, in fact, a path. And he's going down the road. We had a pretty deadly vignette, and they are not happy with Pete Dunne smashing fingers, doing the joint manipulation. Pretty basic vignette here from Pretty Deadly, just getting them on TV. Not much else to say about it. We had a video package recapping Bayley making her WrestleMania decision, and then Damage CTRL turning against him. We had Bianca Belair versus Michin, Mia Yim in a qualifying match. Again, predictable. Michin's not beating Bianca Belair. Ain't gonna happen. Michin did get in some offense, but I mean, yeah, not much to say about this. Bianca did pick up the win eventually with the KOD. She advances to Elimination Chamber, and I don't think she's going to win it, but you have to have Bianca in the Chamber match. So yeah, this again went down as I was expecting. And we had a little interesting backstage segment where we had Braun Breaker meeting with Triple H, and Braun Breaker wanted some advice on which brand he should go to. Triple H said he is proud of Braun Breaker, but before they could continue their conversation, Paul Heyman interrupted, and Braun Breaker decided to take his leave. Heyman came over, and Triple H was very stern. He's like, "What do you want?" And Heyman said he understands Triple H is busy, so he's going to come back next week with Roman Reigns and The Rock. Next week, Roman Reigns and The Rock will be on Friday Night SmackDown. Business definitely picking up next week. Mean Guy 111 sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, LA Knight is still missing the it factor. LA Knight is very charismatic, and I think he could be a top guy if WWE needed him, but Cody's their guy right now. And LA Knight, as popular as he is, like, he has to show that it's more than just a temporary movement. He's got to keep the movement going. He's got to be grinding. He's got to be showing the office that his popularity will be sustainable. Now, the booking might not do him any favors, but LA Knight's got to go out there and keep entertaining the people. Keep giving that guy a live mic and let him do his thing. And, I could see him picking up a title at some point, and maybe that'll be the stepping stone to something bigger. Like, I could see him having a pretty solid run in WWE. I don't know if he's going to be the guy or not, but he's got the charisma that not too many guys have in wrestling. So he's got that going for him at the very least. We had Bayley come into the ring for a promo, and she addressed everything that went down last week and the crowd was chanting for her. She said maybe she had it coming, but she wanted to make it clear that Damage CTRL meant everything to her. And she said that Damage CTRL was like family. However, she gave and all they did was take. She thought maybe they would be happy for her after she won the Royal Rumble, but they weren't. And she said that Io Sky is going to learn the lesson the hard way. Dakota Kai then showed up. Dakota Kai was not on SmackDown last week. Dakota said she had to meet with her doctor. She did not know that all that stuff was going to go down. Bayley did not believe her, but Dakota said she was put in a tough spot. She said that Io did believe in Bayley until Asuka and Kairi Sane got in her head. Dakota said she misses the original Damage CTRL and said they were so close to having it all, and she thought maybe the situation would blow over. At this point, Bayley wanted to know where does Dakota Kai stand? And before Dakota could answer, Damage CTRL showed up. Dakota got a chair, and Dakota teased hitting Bayley, but instead she swung the chair at Damage CTRL, and they fled the scene. And there was a little bit of confusion, but at least for the time now, it looks like Dakota is on Bayley's side. But is it a swerve? That's the big question. Will she turn against Bayley? That's something we'll have to look and watch over in the coming weeks. I like the angle. Good segment here. And it keeps you wondering where Dakota Kai is in all this and whose side is she on. So thumbs up for this segment. Good promo. Good segment. Michael, the Knight of Haven, sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Michael. Says they forgot about Cody Rhodes. LOL. I saw somebody mention that. Was Cody Rhodes advertised for this show? I did see some people bring that up, but I don't recall Cody actually being advertised, but maybe I missed something. Maybe he was advertised locally. I'm not sure. No Cody Rhodes whatsoever on this show. We'll have to hear from him on Monday's Raw. Apparently he was advertised last week, but yeah, I completely forgot about that if he was. We had Randy Orton interviewed backstage, and he talked about having to be patient in this business, and he's going to get his opportunity, and everyone's going to feel the most dangerous letters, RKO. We then had a Bobby Lashley interview, and he hyped up his match on Raw against Big Bronson Reed. Now, normally I would say Lashley wins here, but Elimination Chamber is in Perth. I could see Karrion Kross's group interfering and costing Lashley the match, so Bronson Reed gets to be in the chamber in his home country. That's what I'm expecting at this point. And yeah, I'm happy for Bronson Reed if he gets this opportunity. And people were talking about. I saw a comment in the chat about people from Raw being on SmackDown and vice versa. Like, it's WrestleMania season right now, and they're trying to set up this Elimination Chamber match. So I'll let it slide for now, but they got to try to keep the brands as separate as possible. I suspect after WrestleMania, it'll be back to normal. We'll probably have a draft, and then they'll be strict about the brand split. We had Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate going up against DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, with the winning team going on to face Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber. Very entertaining match here. I actually wish it was longer. Like, I don't think these guys got enough time, but for the time they did get, it was a highly entertaining match. Tyler Bate looked great. He did the airplane spin to Ciampa with Gargano on his shoulders. And then Gargano was able to counter a double team attempt. Ciampa took down Bate with a backbreaker powerbomb maneuver. but Bate was able to kick out, and then Pete Dunne prevented the meet in the middle finisher, and Bate recovered. He hit the double clothesline, and then Pete Dunne came in and pinned Gargano with the bitter end. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate get the win here. Their momentum continues, and they'll get the tag team title shot against Judgment Day. We'll talk about that when we do our predictions for that match. Should be a hell of a match, though, in Australia. Looking forward to that one. We'll see if the champs can retain and if somehow Miz and R-Truth get a title opportunity. Again, we'll talk about that when we do our predictions. We had Dominic Mysterio interviewed backstage, and he said that him and Rhea Ripley are going to have matching championships when Dominic wins the world title. But then he was confronted by Kevin Owens, and it was revealed that Owens and Dominic will go head-to-head next week on SmackDown. Owens said Dominic is going to get a beating of a lifetime, and Owens is dedicating the match to the greatest luchador ever, Rey Mysterio. And then we got a little cameo from R-Truth. R-Truth came in and thought that Kevin Owens was The Miz. R-Truth is great, and there was a big pop for R-Truth, by the way. They got to have him at WrestleMania. Maybe they could have CM Punk and Big E as the hosts, but then R-Truth comes in and thinks he's a host of WrestleMania, and they could do some comedy with CM Punk. They got to have R-Truth in a prominent role at WrestleMania. They just have to do it. He's been on fire. We had Logan Paul backstage complaining to the general managers about being in a chamber qualifier. Logan said he's beyond qualified. He's a needle mover. He shouldn't have to be fighting for free in Utah on SmackDown. He said he should be getting the Rock treatment where he can show up whenever he wants. He said he's not happy about being in a qualifying match, but he did say that he will win. And he asked who his opponent is for next week, and Nick Aldis revealed that it will be The Miz next week. Now, Logan Paul and The Miz have history, and I think Logan Paul is going to Elimination Chamber. That's going to be a match where Logan Paul is going to do some crazy stunt. Like, I would be shocked if The Miz wins that one next week. And then we had our main event of the evening, Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn in a Elimination Chamber qualifying match. They brawled on the outside of the ring. Sami Zayn used Randy Orton's own move against him, slammed him onto the announce table, and then after the break, Randy Orton took control. He gave Zayn a big superplex. Orton did some of his signature moves, but then Orton got dumped over the top rope. Zayn hit a suicide dive. Orton was able to recover from it. He slammed Zayn on the table, his signature move, and then he got Zayn back in the ring. Zayn, though, took down Orton with the Blue Thunder Bomb and got the 1-2-3 victory. No, he did not. Never happens except for the one or two times it did. Of course, Randy Orton kicked out of the Blue Thunder Bomb, and then Randy Orton hit the RKO, got the 1-2-3 victory. So as I was talking about earlier, this was an odd pairing. Like, both of these guys should be in the chamber, and they did this big thing on Raw where Sami Zayn was talking about wanting to win a world title and this being his year. I'm a little surprised that they booked this match. I feel like both of these guys should actually be in the chamber. Now, maybe Sami Zayn will somehow get back in. Maybe they'll do an injury angle with somebody and he'll get a second chance. I don't know. Or maybe they have a story they're doing with Zayn, and he's going to somehow get a big match at WrestleMania. I guess we'll have to see how this plays out. But I was a little surprised they booked this match. And then afterwards, Drew McIntyre came in and had a little bit of a face-off with Randy Orton leading into Elimination Chamber. Both guys have qualified for that match. Shout out to Hamp Connell, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, EO, Did they plan all this or did they cave? Is this about Io Sky? I mean, this storyline has been brewing for a long time, and hats off to WWE. Like, they've been doing the little teases. It's been executed very well up to this point. And I think Bayley's going to pick up the title at WrestleMania. I think it's her time to have that big moment. You know, she went from being that guest host one year, and now this year she's going to be in a high profile match. I think Bayley's going to win the title, and that's an early prediction. Oh, apparently it's in your opinion. So I totally misread that super chat. In your opinion, did they plan all this or did they cave? Are you talking about The Rock? I need to know. Is this about? So I'm clear with the super chat. Is this about The Rock and Cody and Roman Reigns? So I talked about this on the stream. Yeah, he said yes. So this is about Rock and Cody. I did talk about it on the stream. Some people think that it was all planned out. Some people think that it was a late change, that they reacted to the negative feedback. I think that they know what they're doing. And maybe they change things on the fly and they gauge fan reactions, but I'm skeptical that they made a last minute change because of the fact that The Rock just cannot do a full-blown match on short notice. He is a guy that needs to plan well in advance if he's doing a match. He has a very busy schedule. You know, he's still arguably the biggest movie star in the world. And Steve Austin mentioned in an interview that he needed a good 4 to 6 months to do cardio training to come back for a match. And we all saw it when The Rock came out there with Jinder Mahal. He was blown up after just doing a few moves. So are we really to believe that they inserted The Rock? The Rock's like, okay, we're going to do the match with Roman Reigns because of the Vince McMahon scandal, or because The Rock is The Rock and he's trying to politic and take a spot. I have a hard time believing that. And, you know, the CM Punk injury, Brock Lesnar, Rock's like, oh, I better come in and do the match, you know, with less than 2 months to physically get prepared for it. I don't buy that. And you guys have to keep in mind, they booked the T-Mobile Arena pretty far out in advance. This wasn't like a week before the event and they're like, oh, we're going to book the T-Mobile Arena. Like, this is something you have to plan out in advance. So this is not something WWE does every year, a big press conference in an arena and bringing all these people, media and fans. You know, this is something they have to plan out quite a bit in advance. And you remember when The Rock said he's in it for the long game, that was in January. That was before the Vince stuff came out and before the Royal Rumble, before CM Punk got hurt, before Brock Lesnar got pulled. He mentioned the long game. Now, of course, it is possible there was a last minute change. That was rampant during the Vince McMahon era. When Vince was in charge, they were changing plans all the time. So I get it. I understand why fans think, okay, they were just reacting to the negative feedback. But I also don't think that they're going to be persuaded that much to the point where they're going to completely change WrestleMania. So my feeling is that they had a pretty good idea of what they were doing. I don't believe that they had Cody hand over his spot to The Rock and thought that that would go over well. They damn well knew that that was going to get negative feedback. And I think that was what they wanted. I think they wanted that negative feedback and they wanted to get The Rock into the mix to build up WrestleMania. And we're going to see what happens next week. I thought it was a great segment. That press conference, fantastic. And I'm very much looking forward to next week and seeing what they're doing. Are they going to have a tag match? I mean, Seth Rollins is going to be facing the Elimination Chamber winner, but you have to wonder what's brewing here, because they definitely teased something. You know, Rock slapping Cody Rhodes. I want to see these guys go at it now. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, can you imagine Vince McMahon booking WrestleMania 40? Well, I cannot imagine it, because I don't think he's coming back. Yeah, somebody can joke like, well, maybe he'll come back and Baron Corbin will face The Rock or something like that. But yeah, I cannot imagine it, because it just gets worse and worse for Vince. You hear all these stories coming out about him. I really don't think he's coming back at this point. SmackDown was pretty good, but it felt like the calm before the storm. You know, next week is the big show with The Rock and Roman Reigns coming in. You know, this is the first time in a while where The Rock is advertised in advance. So next week is a must-see show. This week, you know, good show. Elimination Chamber qualifying matches, but, you know, pretty standard episode of SmackDown. Predictable outcomes here. I give the show a B-. I enjoyed it, but I don't think it was something you have to go out of your way to watch. It had its moments. It was entertaining. I enjoyed the Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate match with DIY. I don't think it was the best show of the week. Sorry, Matthew. I know some of you might not agree, but Dynamite wins this week. I thought they put on the best show. But SmackDown was pretty solid. And Raw was solid too. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I very much appreciate it. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And again, if you're going to send a super chat with a question, make sure you spell it out for me, because I'm dumb sometimes, and when we're live, I can barely read the screen even with glasses. So you guys got to make sure you spell it out for me, because if I see IYO, I think it's EO, not in your opinion. And I'm also not hip, so I don't know what the acronyms are or things in initials. You gotta act like I'm dumb and I don't know anything when you send those super chats. But thank you guys so much. Much love and appreciation. Enjoy your weekend. And as Oofman says, say yes to NoDQ.com. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're a football fan. Take care, everybody. Say yes to NoDQ.com. Buy a shirt, NoDQ.com/merch. And I will see you all next time.